Imagine you're sitting in a quiet room, and someone asks you a question that makes no sense. Does a dog have Buddha nature? You think, well, of course, everything has Buddha nature, right? But then the Zen master looks you straight in the eye and shouts, "Mu." And you're left there, stunned, wondering what just happened. That's the first koan from the Gateless Gate, one of the most famous collections of Zen puzzles. It's called The Dog and Mu, and it's designed to break your brain. But here's the thing, it's not about the answer. It's about the question itself. You know that feeling when you're trying to solve a problem, and the more you think, the more tangled you get. That's exactly what this koan does. It's a trap for your rational mind. And the only way out is to let go. So let's dive into this paradox and see what happens when you stop trying to figure it out. This koan has been used for centuries in Zen monasteries to push practitioners beyond the limits of logic. Imagine a monk who has studied Buddhist scriptures for years, confident in his understanding. He approaches the master with a question that seems straightforward, expecting a doctrinal answer. Instead, he gets a shout that shatters his entire framework. The room falls silent, and the monk is left with nothing but the echo of a mu. In that moment, his intellectual knowledge becomes useless. He must confront the raw, unfiltered reality of his own mind. This is not a game, it's a direct challenge to the ego's need to categorize and control. The koan strips away all the layers of conditioning, leaving you face to face with the unknown. And that unknown is where true wisdom begins. Historically, this koan has been a rite of passage for Zen students. Those who truly penetrate it often experience a profound shift in perception. They no longer see the world through the lens of concepts but as a living, dynamic whole. The dog, the monk, the master, all become part of a single, seamless reality. So when you hear mu, don't try to understand it. Let it resonate in your bones. Let it unsettle you. That discomfort is the first step toward liberation. Why does this koan matter? Because it's not just a riddle, it's a mirror for your mind. You see, Zen Buddhism isn't about accumulating knowledge. It's about seeing things as they really are, without the filter of concepts. And mu is a tool to smash that filter. Think about it, when you're meditating, and a thought pops up, what do? You label it, judge it, try to push it away. But what if you just said mu to every thought? Not as an answer, but as a way to cut through the noise. That's the power of this koan. It's not about dogs or Buddha nature. It's about your own nature. You know how sometimes you get stuck in your head, overanalyzing everything? That's the ego trying to control reality. But reality doesn't care about your analysis. It just is. And a mu is a wake-up call. It's like a slap in the face that says, stop thinking and start experiencing. So when you sit with this koan, you're not trying to solve it. You're letting it dissolve your habitual patterns. And that's where the magic happens. Consider the story of a modern Zen practitioner who used mu during a stressful work presentation. As he stood before his colleagues, his mind began to race with self-doubt. What if I forget my lines? What if they think I'm incompetent? In that moment, he silently repeated mu to each anxious thought. The thoughts didn't disappear, but their grip on him loosened. He realized that the fear was just another concept, a story he was telling himself. By saying mu, he cut through the narrative and connected directly with the present moment. The presentation went well, not because he had the perfect answer, but because he was fully present. This is the practical magic of the koan. It trains you to see through the illusions that cause suffering. In ancient China, Zen masters would send their students into the world with a mu as their only companion. They would work in fields, chop wood, carry water, all the while holding mu in their hearts. Over months and years, the koan would transform them from the inside out. They learned that every situation, joyful or painful, was an opportunity to let go. And in that letting go, they found a peace that no external circumstance could disturb. So when you feel overwhelmed by life's demands, remember Mu. It's not a cure-all, but a key that unlocks the door to your true nature. Now, let's look at the source text. It comes from the Gateless Gate, written by the Chinese Zen master woman Huikai in the 13th century. The koan goes like this: a monk asked Zhaozhou, "Does a dog have Buddha nature or not?" Zhaozhou said, "Mu." That's it. One word. But here's the shocking part: in Mahayana Buddhism, it's taught that all beings have Buddha nature. So why would Zhaozhou say Mu, which means no or not? That's the paradox. You think, wait, is the dog an exception? Is Zhaozhou wrong? But that's missing the point. Wuman himself says in his commentary, to attain the way, you must be a man of the way. If you don't understand, you'll be like a dog chasing a ball of fire. He's saying that the answer, Mu, isn't a logical negation. It's a direct pointing to reality. It's like when you're in a dark room, and someone says, light. You don't analyze the word, you turn on the switch. Mu is that switch. It's a sound that cuts through thought. And when you really hear it, something shifts. You realize that the question itself is based on a false premise. The dog, the Buddha nature, the monk, they are all illusions. And Mu is the thunder that wakes you up. To fully appreciate this, we need to understand the historical context. Zhaozhou was a legendary Zen master from the Tang dynasty, known for his cryptic and profound teachings. The monk who asked the question was likely a seasoned practitioner, well-versed in Buddhist doctrine. He expected a yes or no answer, but Zhaozhou's Mu exploded that binary framework. In the centuries since, countless students have grappled with this koan. Some spent years in meditation, holding Mu as their sole focus. Wuman himself warned that you must gather all your energy and pour it into Mu, as if your head were on fire. This intensity is necessary because the koan resists casual understanding. It demands everything you have. There's a famous story of a Japanese Zen master who, when asked about the koan, simply held up a dog's whisker. He didn't say a word, but the gesture conveyed the same message: the truth is beyond words. Another story tells of a student who, after months of struggling with a Mu, finally broke through during a tea ceremony. As he lifted the cup, he saw the dog, the master, and himself as one. The koan had dissolved, not because he found an answer, but because he became the answer. This is the transformative power of the Gateless Gate. It's not a gate you open, it's a gate that opens you. Let's break down the meaning of Mu in practice. It's not a concept you can grasp with your mind. It's an experience. When you meditate on this koan, you're supposed to hold Mu in your awareness like a hot coal. You don't think about it, you feel it. It becomes a question that has no answer. And in that space of not knowing, something opens up. You know that feeling when you're about to sneeze, and there's that split second of pure tension. That's the energy of a Mu. It's a state of intense focus without a goal. In Zen, this is called great doubt. And it's not a bad thing. It's the engine of awakening. So when you sit with a Mu, you're not looking for a solution. You're diving into the doubt itself. And eventually, the doubt shatters, and you see that the dog, the Buddha nature, and you are not separate. It's like looking at a wave and realizing it's the ocean. The wave doesn't have ocean nature, it is the ocean. So, Mu isn't a denial, it's a revelation. It's saying, stop asking about the dog and look at your own mind. And that's a game changer. To make this more concrete, imagine you're learning to play a musical instrument. At first, you focus on notes, scales, and techniques. But eventually, you forget all that and just play. The music flows through you. Mu works the same way. It starts as a focus point, but if you persist, it becomes a vehicle for direct experience. There's a story of a Zen student who practiced Mu for 3 years without any apparent progress. He felt frustrated and ready to give up. One night, as he was walking in the rain, he slipped on a wet stone. In that instant of falling, his mind stopped, and he realized mu was not a word but the very ground of being. He laughed and cried at the same time. From then on, every step he took was mu, every breath was a mu. He had not gained anything new, he had simply let go of everything that was false. This is the heart of the practice. It's not about achieving a special state but about recognizing what has always been true. In modern psychology, we might call this flow or mindfulness, but Zen goes deeper. It challenges the very notion of a separate self. When you truly embody mu, the distinction between subject and object dissolves. You don't meditate on mu, you are mu. And in that unity, all questions fall away. How does this play out in real life? Think about a time you were really stressed. Maybe you were stuck in traffic, late for a meeting, and your mind was racing. I should have left earlier, why is this happening? That's the dog and Buddha nature problem. You're caught in a story. But what if you just said mu to the whole situation? Not as a dismissal, but as a way to drop the story and just be with the traffic. Suddenly, the stress isn't about the traffic anymore. It's about your resistance. And when you let go of that resistance, you find a strange peace. You know how sometimes you argue with someone, and you're so sure you're right? That's another mu moment. Instead of defending your position, try saying mu to the argument itself. See what happens. It's not about giving up, it's about seeing that the argument is a construct. The real connection is beyond words. So in your daily life, mu becomes a tool to cut through mental clutter. When you're anxious about the future, say mu. When you're regretting the past, say mu. It's not a mantra, it's a sword that slices through illusion. And the more you use it, the more you realize that the gateless gate was never closed. You just had to stop looking for a key. Let me share a personal story. I once had a friend who was constantly worried about her job. She would replay conversations in her head, imagining worst-case scenarios. I suggested she try mu during her commute. At first, she found it strange, but she persisted. After a few weeks, she told me that something had shifted. She still had concerns, but they no longer controlled her. She could see her thoughts as just thoughts, not absolute truths. This is the power of the koan in everyday life. It doesn't eliminate problems, but it changes your relationship to them. You become like a mountain that watches clouds pass, unmoved by the weather. In Zen monasteries, monks are taught to apply mu to every activity. When they eat, they are mu. When they clean, they are mu. This constant practice integrates the koan into the fabric of daily existence. Over time, the boundary between practice and life dissolves. You don't have to be a monk to benefit. You can start right now, wherever you are. The next time you feel a wave of emotion, pause and whisper mu. Let it be a reminder that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness in which thoughts arise. That awareness is the Buddha nature the monk was asking about. And a mu is the direct path to it. So what's your takeaway from all this? First, understand that the koan isn't a puzzle to be solved. It's a tool to be used. When you sit with a mu, you're not trying to get an answer. You're training your mind to let go of answers altogether. And that's where freedom lies. You know how we're always chasing happiness, success, or meaning. That's the same trap. You think if you just get the right answer, everything will be okay. But the koan shows you that the question itself is the problem. So next time you're meditating, or even just walking down the street, try holding mu in your mind. Not as a word, but as a feeling of not knowing. Let it permeate your experience. And don't expect anything. That's the hard part. We want results, but Zen is about process. The gateless gate is always open, but you have to stop trying to find the door. So here's my challenge to you. For one day, treat every question as a koan. When someone asks you something, don't answer immediately. Just sit with the space before the answer. See what arises. It might be uncomfortable, but it might also be the most real thing you've ever felt. And that's the whole point. Not to get somewhere, but to be where you already are. That's the wisdom of Umu. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Namast. To deepen this practice, consider keeping a journal of your experiences with Umu. Write down moments when you felt a shift, no matter how small. Over time, you'll see patterns of liberation emerge. You might also explore other koans from the gateless gate, such as the sound of one hand clapping, or what was your original face before your parents were born. Each koan is a unique doorway, but they all lead to the same place, the direct realization of your true nature. Remember, the path is not about accumulating insights but about shedding illusions. Mu is your companion on this journey. Trust it. Let it work on you. And one day, you might find that the dog, the master, and you are not separate. You are the question and the answer, the seeker and the sought. In that unity, there is peace beyond understanding.